Welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review Part 18B. This reviewing the next 15 episodes of the Water 7 arc. Episodes 237 to 251. Try to stop here because the last part of the episodes is when they're out in the sea. But don't worry, I'll get to that. Now, the reason why I decided to basically save these episodes for B, because this is where the crazy stuff happens. Like, oh my god, it's all more crazier than usual. First up, Iceberg's been shot. Yep. Though it's actually revealed that Nigga Robin was there, but she's not the one who fired the shot. Nope, it was somebody else. They do introduce one new character in these episodes, Luto, the bartender. I'll get to him. Mostly Putty just there just to run the bar, listen to Frankie and Kankuro. The old lady who's known Frankie for over 20 years. Yep. And he gets more like for Straw Hat, so actually before that he actually comes back home. Doesn't know what happened with Iceberg. He comes back and sees the Frankie house destroyed. He gets very angry at it. He finally takes off the silly mask he was wearing. Probably because he's a recognizable face. That's the reason why I took it off. So yeah, he goes find Straw Hat at the docks. And of course, everybody accuses the Straw Hat of attempted murdering Iceberg, despite the fact there's very little evidence to support it. Yeah, the reasoning some people think is because they didn't want to repair their ship. No, that's not true at all. The actual culprits are the world government. Yep, the world government. Because of course it's the world government, because the world government's portrayed like complete buffoons. And they're pretty much arrogant jerks. Like, oh, we have our nice fancy suits. If you dare get away, we're gonna kill you, even if you agree with us. That's the world government for you, and they're so secretive in nature. Yeah, and also I almost kind of forgot the three agents who showed up at the beginning of this arc, who do question Iceberg about something. They come back briefly. I almost kind of forgot these three actually came back. Because they show up beginning and then they show up again. And, of course, everybody's like... And, of course, Frankie ends up fighting Luffy, and they end up fighting. Yeah, his dance... Of course, he shows up, of course, he starts dancing. I thought this was kind of hilarious, because as far as Frankie's motif, basically, shows up he dances. And Luffy fight for a while. Ends up wrecking some of the shipyard. But then the four foremen show up. Rob Lucci, Ted Stone, Polly, and Lepew. And they end fighting Straw Hat for apparently trying to kill Iceberg. He has no idea what they're talking about. Yeah, he does know about what happened with Iceberg, but he had nothing to do with that. Not at all. And eventually he's able to get away thanks to Frankie using a special air gun. An air gun, he just attaches a little thing like this. Almost like he's using like the Kamehameha way, the way he's doing this. Yeah, it's like the way it's like he does this. And he has like a little pole between his arms, because it's cyborg. And he does like little blow up his arms and basically launch a sideways Kamehameha, though it's air style. Yeah, I get the fact that Oda, Kishimoto, and Kubo are heavily inspired by Akira Toriyama. Especially the main... Well, not in the case of... In the case of Kishimoto and Oda, their protagonist personality are heavily inspired by Goku. Luffy is more obviously inspired by Goku because he's more of an idiot, like Goku is. Naruto is a bit more smarter than Goku, but at least his personality is very similar to that, and the fact he's a massive eater. And the luck of Luffy kind of picked up that gluttony stuff from Goku. So, yeah, of course, Straw Hat gets away with Nami. First, he ends up flying her custody via his arms. Then when he finally gets to the rooftop, she pretty much bangs his head. He's like, "What'd you do that for?" He's like, "'Cause you're an idiot." Of course he is. As Frankie, that's when he goes to the bar, meets with Bluto, and he just smashes the bar, goes off with his the girls, and people are noticing that something weird's happened to the wind. Aqua Lagoon, basically, it's kind of like a big hurricane that nearly drowns the whole city. Yep. So, because the wind, basically, the two girls, basically, with Frankie, they basically, of course, Frankie obviously asked, like, "Why are you two crab walking for?" And they say, if we walk forward, like normally, we get blown away because of our hair. I buy that. Because they put their hair or shape of basically giant placemats. Oda. He's weird. Yep. And of course, Frankie does find out that some of his men did survive. They're not all unconscious like the other ones are. They're actually just heavily injured. Yep. And they basically figure out what to do, and of course they figure out, oh yeah, the ship basically they have is empty. Like, let's just take their ship. And they find that Usopp is there, and they take him and the ship to their special warehouse. Yeah, this is revealed to be a warehouse that Iceberg, which is revealed that Iceberg and Frankie were actually old childhood friends, and also the Fishman Tom was here. Yep. Yeah, they actually follow up with the whole thing with Fishman Tom in the Fishman Island arc, which I do appreciate that. Fishman Tom is a guy who was a big, humongous guy who was very big in size, and despite the fact that Fishman can be a little more thinner than he is, why he looks that way, I have no idea. Why his brother looks almost completely different than he does. It's just basically how it is. Yeah, his brother is a merman. I am not kidding about that. His brother is a merman. They only introduced his brother until Fishman Island. Yep. Now, as in the case of what happens at the mansion. Oh boy, this is interesting. We have the four former guarding Iceberg's room, and then of course we have, well, Paulus asked to speak with Iceberg privately, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. And what does he do? Walk to his office, pushes his desk back, pulls up the rug to see a safe. He does combination. What's inside? Blueprints. Blueprints for an ancient weapon called Pluton. And the Wolf government wants these plans. Yeah, that's the reason they were here. Yeah, the thing is, these plans, they want these plans to build the weapon to destroy pirates. Basically killing hundreds of people just because of it. Iceberg, Tom, and Frankie probably all agree that building this thing is really stupid. Yep, really stupid. Oh yeah, and Polly is a character founded by two people in masks. Yep, two people in masks, which later turned out to be Rob Lucci and Conqueror. Yep. And they're agents of CP9. Hello and Caulifla. And Bluto. Yep, just these four. And of course, while we're trying to get the plans, there's like little holes poked in Polly. Well, was he shot? No. He was poked. Never thinking, wait, a poke. That does nothing, people. But what if the poke is deadly? Yes. Oh look, finger poke-a-doo! Poke, poke, poke. Yeah, I know they reference to a very stupid moment that happened in WCW with Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan. But yeah, that's literally what this is. Think of it as like that, but 100 times worse. Where the thing actually pokes your skin. Like goes right through it. And it looks like he was poked like a half a dozen times. In the leg, he got poked in like once in the leg, a couple times in the arms, and like a few times in the chest, but he still lives. They get the plans, and he's like, oh yeah, my plans looking for, but those plans are fake. Yep, they're fake. And of course, Nika Robin is with them. Yeah, that's basically where she sleeps. she's basically with CP9. Yeah, in the case of, well, they had one guy who's the George Orfruit, and he's like, Door, and of course Robin pushed him. Yeah, there's truth with Bluto. Yep, Bluto. So this means that Bluto was one-shot Iceberg. And the reason? Because he wouldn't hand over these plans. Which, if I was in that position, I'd be like, no, I'm not handing over these plans because you're going to build this up to kill people. I'd rather burn these plans than basically hand it over to you. So Iceberg, and of course Frankie, or every right to not hand over the plans to the war government. Because knowing the war government, they might use it for evil purposes. Because the war government portrayed the series as evil. So there's some officials basically are pretty deep. Yeah, that's the thing about the war government in the One Piece series. There are some Marines that are actually pretty decent people. The war government officials, oh no, they're all complete jerks. Every single one of them. Though the bigger ones are not introduced until Saturday Abago, which actually is not for several arcs. Yeah, and it also turns out though that Rob Lucci is a Delver user. Yeah, he can turn into a leopard man. Yep. Also, he has built an iron body. Yeah, the 6 powers plus he and the other one can do moonwalk. This is the first appearance of that ability. Ability that Sanju revealed that he knows how to use this ability post time skip. Yeah, he learned it when he was on that island during the 2-year time skip with the Island of Transvestites. Don't worry, we'll get to them. When I talk about post-war, when I talk about the separation arc, which will be for quite some time. Yep. And when they were revealed that they're part of CP9, of course, Luffy, of course, tried to get in. He gets stuck. Look at him, gets freed, and he busts right through, ends up in the office with Polly. But he was able to, even at one point, get pinned down, but he gets freed thanks to his Deathcore power. And they go in, and they go punch to a wall. So they're like, and someone was like, nope, not there. They punch the wall, and of course they see CP9, and of course Robin's like, I'm not going with you because I have a wish that they're going to grant. Yeah, she's not very clear about this. Excuse me, until like the final part of this episode. So CP9 apparently took out a lot of the workers inside the mansion, including Treadstone and LePew. Yeah, they took all these two, and they basically shoot Iceberg, not wound him per se. And it turns out though the plans are with Frankie. Yep, they are with Frankie. So they go and go see Frankie. Robin, of course, is like, she said, oh, you won't see me again. Yeah, they will. And of course, they also proceed to blow up the mansion. Yep, the Gallery Law main office, they blow it up. Just cause, and they want to blame the Straw Hats. Look at Iceberg tells them there when he escapes thanks to Chopper, who gets pinned down by debris. The Chopper seemed to find one of Zoro's swords. Yeah, I think the other two are probably with Zoro himself, but yeah, he did get one of his swords and get Iceberg and Polly on him, and jumps to the window and saves her life. Nami, of course, is thrown out, lands in the front lawn. Luffy gets stuck between the two buildings. Zoro ends up in the water. Yep, when he gets launched out. But don't worry, they're going to have their long-awaited rematch with these people. After Iceberg comes to, he basically tells Nami about what happened. Like, what was the reason for this? He says the reason for Robin's act is because CP9 has the authority of a Buster Call. Yep, it's first mention of this particular thing. We don't see it until the very next arc. Yeah, what they expect the Buster Call is that 5 warships under the command of 5 vice admirals, basically open fire on one place to completely eviscerate it. And this is what apparently happened to Odora. And they'll supposedly say what it is, but makes Nicky Robin so angry the fact he brought it up. I'll explain more about that when I talk about Edo's Lobby. And it's also, we get used to one more new character in the episodes. Spot Yes, Spot Which they use him in flashback before they use the present day, which is a smart move on the part of basically Oda to do this. Where they show that how Tom first met Frankie, where he was simply left behind by his pirate parents because they couldn't handle his rowdiness. So he basically took Frankie as a name was basically too silly, so they changed his name to Frankie. That was Iceberg's idea, and of course Frankie calls him Ice for Brains. He still calls him that to this very day. And the thing is, it looks like when he was younger, Iceberg did not like that name at all. When he got older, it's kind of like, yeah, he had no problem with it at all. Then they show that apparently he was arrested by the World Government for building Gold Roger's ship. And here's the thing, apparently according to this flashback, this is not long after Goldie Roger was executed. So, yeah, he reveals that he has a big plan to build a big sea train. And Judge's like, interesting. How long will it take you? 10 years. Like, okay, build this. He will basically build it so to connect the several islands together. Like Ken Osabe, he says, yep, that's what I hope to do. And basically, both Tom, Iceberg, and Frankie spend the next 10 years building this train. And eventually it's completed. And then Spottom shows up, where he really wants those blueprints. And Tom is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Go away. And of course, he just throw him out. Yeah, and it turns out Spottom is orders from the 5 elder idiots. I call them that because they're idiots. Because apparently they don't know exactly how to run a government properly. Well, they complete dicks about it. Yeah. And he apparently is investigating for something. Also, this guy was the head of CP5. Yes, CP5. So in present day, he's head of CP9. And he overhears like the judge is coming, and of course he sees Frankie's battleships. Yeah, Frankie was known for like these small little battleships. And he proceeds to fire on the judicial ship, which Tom got wounded. And now Iceberg knew Frankie had nothing to do with this at all. They all knew who was really responsible for this. Spottom. Despite the fact Frankie basically openly accuses Spottom when they get arrested, everybody laughs it off. And basically, after he sort of denies that they're ships, Tom basically snaps. He basically breaks his chains and punches basically Frankie. And gives a good advice basically, and the judge basically is moved by it. And he also obviously tells Spottom, hey, you from CP5, shut up. I want to hear this. Yep. And, well, he says, okay, I want you to amend, use that part you used me for the previously, just amend the previous stuff, and I'll accept the charge of building Gold Roger ship. And the judge is like, I accept. So, he goes off on the steamship, the Puffing Tom. Frankie, of course, before he leaves, he proceeds to punch Spottom in the face, breaks some of his teeth, and then Frankie gets angry that they're taking Tom. After they take, and of course they also use tranquilizer on him, and he also took the big spear that was out of him, and he proceeds to take a military rifle and whack Spottom in the face, breaking his face. And then he gets away. Though he later shows up after when Tom's on the Puffing Tom, and he tries to stop Puffing Tom, but he sort of gets killed. But look how he's alive present day. Also, the fraud is later named Yokozuna, and basically Frankie is the one telling him how to use the front stroke. Interesting. They show this, and of course, finally, these episodes will explain Robin's reasoning for her actions. So, good set of episodes. Can't wait to basically discuss the final 12 episodes of this arc and move on to, and in my opinion, one of the best arcs of the series, Edoros Lobby. A quite lengthy arc too. Yep. So yeah. Oh, one more thing before I close out here. If you watch these episodes, starting with episode 237, they have a cold opening. Yes, they have a cold opening where they go straight into the actual episodes. So basically, they put the recap first, then they put the theme song, and then, well, the episode itself. Yeah, I was like, that's interesting. Now, they only do this just for said episodes. I think they go back to the normal thing of just theme song and then regular episode itself. They do this wrapped, and it was a lot wraps up. Because this arc is serious and dark. Yep. But yeah, not much else to say about this. It's really good. So yeah, that's a particular review. I still got other reviews for more One Piece, basically news episode today. No shit's manga. My Hero Academia, Boruto, case closed. And if we get time to, probably Comic Corner, okay? See you. Bye.